Hello and welcome to our channel, Universal Heritage Television Niger. I am Afam Echi, your host. I'm bringing you today another interesting package of our program Face to Face on UHTV Niger. Please, if you are joining us for the first time, try and subscribe to our YouTube platform and do remember to like our Facebook page. In this edition, we are going to present a personality, a senior citizen, an elder who has devoted so much of his life in the service of God. He is no less a person than Bishop Samuel Chuka Ekemam. Recently, he attended one, gradually ascending the class of octogenarian. Specifically, he was 82 just a few days back. As a friend of the house, we decided to honor him with this child to give us opportunity to talk about his life and times while he served God. Before we proceed, let us give you a little insight about the person called Bishop Chuka Samuel Ekemam Sr. Bishop Ekemam Sr. is the prelate emeritus of the AME Zion Church. AME means African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church.
In Nigeria.
In Nigeria. His episcopal tenure spanned over 30 years, 24 of which has been put in active itinerancy. His total ministry experience, we have to tell you, is about 64 years, spanning from 1960 to date. During which period, he had the opportunity of traveling to places like Caribbean, Asia, Europe, and Africa. He attended some of America's best universities, for example, the Yale University and the Livingstone University in North Carolina. In 1992, at the age of 49, he became the first non-American and youngest person ever to be elected president of the board of bishops in one of America's major church. He is also the first native Nigerian to become a bishop in the church. He has authored some books to his credit, one of which is Concise Ritual Manner, Growing the Church, as well as other works. He is married, he has a son, 6 adult daughters, all of who are married except one, and a total grandchildren of 11. Sir, you are welcome to our program.
Thank you very much. Greetings, viewers. God bless you.
Sir, we want to find out, what is it like, how do you feel attaining 82 in a society where the life expectancy is so short and people hardly make it to this age? How do you feel, sir?
Oh, I feel wonderful. I feel great, and I am also grateful to God for His grace. It is by His grace, that I am here today. That does not mean that I haven't had my share of trials and tribulations, but through it all, God has brought me to this point. I am thankful to Him. God be praised.
Okay, as a senior citizen, how do you cope with life challenges during this period of economic difficulties?
I am doing the best I can, just like any other Nigerian, any other senior citizen, managing your limited resources, depending on the support of my family and of course support of the church that I served, and I feel grateful. I am fairly okay, except that I have some health issues, but that does not take away from the fact that God has been gracious to me and continues to see me through.
Okay. You did express gratitude to your family, to your friends, and you forgot about the government that pays you pension. Yeah, I know you are a pensioner.
I am a pensioner. I'm a pensioner. I served Imo State. Actually, I was inherited by Imo State from before the war. As a pensioner who served during that time, federal government has a percentage of your pension to pay. Federal government has been very diligent and faithful, and I am grateful to them. Unfortunately, I am reluctant to say, but sadly, that since August 2017, I have not received a dime, a penny, or naira from Imo State government as pension. And I may not be the only one, but that's a fact.
Okay. Which unit of the federal government did you serve?
I was a school teacher, and when the war ended, everybody who served in whatever state, especially in the southeast, they were all harmonized into a federal system. And then Imo State, I said, I'm a retired principal from Imo State. I retired in 1988. My pension was paid when I got to retirement age. Of course, I had retired voluntarily when I was made a bishop at the age of 46. When I turned the proper age of retirement, I started to receive my pension. But when I went on medical treatment abroad, when I came back after some time, since then, 2017, I have not been paid any pension.
That means probably you are not involved in the verification exercise.
Oh, I have been done the verification process. I've been through that process at least 4 times. I did another process about 2 months ago. I took the same forms of verification that were duly signed and processed and submitted it again to the head of service of Imo State. I'm expecting, I am hopeful that very soon they will start payrolling me.
Okay, sir, it would be nice to give us an insight into your career path, and how you have worked through this path, getting to where you are now. Sorry, just like you mentioned, you worked as a teacher, you became a school principal, you became a bishop. How were you able to juggle all of this?
I was a school teacher. I started teaching at the age of 15.
Really?
I wasn't able to, before I turned 16, I was already teaching. 1958. I taught for 1 year and then entered what used to be elementary teachers college, ETC. I did 2 years and I moved on from there. I was combining my teaching career with preaching, as I had indicated to my family earlier that I wanted to be a teacher and a preacher. At some point in my process, I was ordained in 1969. I was in the United States at the time. I was ordained in 1969, the diaconate, and in 1972 I was ordained an elder. And when I came back to Nigeria in June of 1980, I resumed teaching. I taught at Bishop Lasbury, from where I rose to be vice principal and posted out and continued therefrom as a principal in Imo State school system until 1988, when I was elected a bishop and I had to request for voluntary retirement. Now, when I became a bishop, the church sent me to be the presiding prelate of Nigeria and Liberia. I served for 4 years, and the work in Nigeria started to grow, and the church decided that they would be best to allow me to concentrate on Nigeria. And I stayed in Nigeria and worked until my retirement in July 24th, 2012.
2012. Now, of all the prestigious professional careers, we have people who took to medicine, become medical doctors, lawyers, engineers, and what was your motivation in electing to go the way you went, working with government?
I always wanted to be a teacher, always wanted to help other people, help to instruct younger generation and serve people and serve God and serve people. And so that gave me opportunity as a teacher and as administrator, as a principal. And then to serve God, that was my main calling. Pastoring, administering the church, and helping to build people and encourage them to follow the ways of God and do right by all men, even in society, just to be sure that we were doing what God expected of us to do.
I remember in your active days, you were reckoned as one of the fiery bishops who was always speaking truth to power, just like we have presently Father Kuka of the Catholic Church. Looking back those days and what it is now, do you not any regret saying those things you were saying, and to what extent was it able to bring any change? And again, we have to ask, why are you not talking again about governance?
Well, everybody speaks as the Spirit gives them utterance, and as the way, according to how they perceive themselves, their reason for being, their ministry. And those of us who are of Methodist persuasion, we believe that justification by faith is a thing that makes us claim to be children of God. And to prove that faith, you have to show it by some good works. It's important to show it by some good works. And so we encourage people to do what is right, to live exemplary life, to help society, cultivate good morals and principles that will make for better cohabitation in a society.
I'm asking, why is it that elders like you no longer hear your voice, in spite of
well, we are at a point when you retire, you probably may not have the platform like you used to, and you allow the younger generation. You have done your part during your day, faced the issues that were facing you in those days, and now some other people who have the platform, who have the opportunity. That doesn't say that we can't speak up. If we have a chance to speak up, we will speak up. But we also know that even the people that you speak to, that you want to speak truth to power, they are people of conscience. In most cases, they know what is right. But sometimes they choose not to do what is right.
What do you regard as the high point of your achievement in the church?
Well, for the church, by the grace of God, I was first assigned to 3 annual conferences. Annual conferences could be described as equivalent to dioceses by other denominations. I was assigned to 3 dioceses in Nigeria, but by the time I finished after 24 years, they had increased to 11. There's additional 8 annual conferences. Some in 2 in the east, one in the Akwa Ibom Cross River area, four in the Akwa Ibom Cross River area, and then one in the west and one in the north. A total of 8 new annual conferences. That's what we consider expansion in the work of the Lord. And also we were able to establish a regional headquarters here in Owerri at Ugwoji. We were able to establish a theological seminary at Ndonebom for the entire denomination and other Christian bodies right at Ndonebom in Akwa Ibom State. That was established in 1992, and it's a higher institution, not just, it's actually a post-secondary school that is equivalent to a higher institution for the training of ministers. It's still existing and doing the work of the Lord in training and developing ministers.
If you are given a chance to do this job again, what is it that you did not do you want to do, or if there was any error, what is it?
Well, I did the best I could under the circumstances at the time. If I were given the job again, I would look at the circumstances and the needs that are in the society and what the church would expect of me to do, and how we as the church in the body of Christ will respond and do what we can to move it forward.
Let me sound a bit controversial.
Yes.
You are an Igbo man with your own culture. And the Christian religion is seen by some people as an imperialist tool that was used to dominate and subjugate the black man. And while you served, did you find yourself in any conflict struggling between the two cultures? Because Christian religion is the culture of another society, and we have our own culture. So how were you able to navigate definitely one expect there's going to be conflict. So how do you
there wasn't any conflict. I did not see Christian religion as anything other than complementary to my culture, and in fact they were mutually complementary. Christianity helped me to be a better Igbo man, and as a Christian, I didn't see anything contradictory in that. But Christianity is not of another culture. Christianity is a culture of its own for those who believe in Christ's death and resurrection as complete atonement for man's sin and for salvation. It's not a culture of Europe. Now, it may be true that Europe at a point Christianity became like associated synonymous with Europe, but Christianity is not per se a European culture. Christianity is different from Europe, just like Christianity is different from Africa. In fact, you could even say that much of Africa, much of Christianity, basically African. You had leaders of Africa, of the church that were of African origin, that played major roles, and we cannot say that Christianity was a European culture.
To the extent that the blacks played a prominent role founding. We hear about Christianity originated from Ethiopia or something like that.
Well, Ethiopia was one of the major areas that Christianity in the first century was established. it wasn't founded in Ethiopia. Some original Christians took not only to Ethiopia, took it to places like India, even in the 1st century. So you can't say Christianity is of Indian culture, you know.
So who do we give credit to? Assuming we are trying to trace the root of Christianity, where do we say?
You can name some Africans,
okay.
You know, Augustine of Hippo and many others, who origin, who laid foundation of Christianity, and you know, and followed on to establish and consolidate on it. But it wasn't. You can't say it was a typically African or European.
Okay, Bishop, I'm still dwelling on this issue, and I hope I'm not troubling you so much.
No.
When you say Christianity and the Igbo culture are complementary,
yes.
What we want to ask, why is it that the churches were going around asking people to drop their culture and then follow the way of Christ?
What the church did was some cultures and some traditions and some practices that were inhumane, that were evil, like killing of twins and things like that. You know, they didn't ask them to drop culture of, you know, Christianity honors father and mother, our culture honors father and mother, but they didn't ask them to drop a culture. What particular culture did they ask them to drop, for example?
when they brand our way of life, they said it's demonic, the sacrifices, you should not do it.
No, the sacrifice is a different thing now. If you do sacrifices, you know, they're doing it to unknown gods. Those are not Christian. Those are, you know, are definitely wrong.
Well, that is interpretation, according to the interpretation. But is it right for any person to come and interpret what is original to me from outside, to tell me what I'm doing is wrong?
Well, what you're doing, you mean in
I mean, like the Europeans coming to tell us, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do. When some of these things that we're doing here that are original and indigenous to us is found all over the world.
For example?
Yeah, like I mentioned, like the way we worship back in the days, the way we reverence our ancestors.
All right, reverencing our ancestors, worshiping our ancestors, you know, is different from worshiping idols. Is that the same thing? They're not the same thing. Reverencing our ancestors is not the same as worshiping idols. You know, wooden images.
If we have to follow that, the Christian is also guilty of that. We see the Catholics in a molten image of a woman mixed with cement and mortar and sand, and they adore it, and they tell us we are worshiping gods, and people go to supplicate, and so I don't see anything different. Let me take it to another. Let me take it to another issue. Now, how would you explain the doctrinal differences we notice in the church? In the church today, everything we hear is anchored Christ and the Bible, a symbol of authority. They go through different routes, doing different things. You know, how do you explain the doctrinal differences? Today, you see, you have different groups in the Christendom. You have the Catholic Church, you have the Anglican, you have the Pentecostals, you have the spiritual churches, you know, you have the indigenous African churches, and all of them and so many other different sects, they're all doing different things. So how do you explain? One will condemn what the other is doing. You see, there are conflicts.
Well, you know, there is the basic changes, differences in the denominations and in the Christian groups are based on their doctrines and also their recognition of authority. Now, all of them, our unifying factor is Christ himself. One faith, one Lord, one baptism. But then different denominations lay emphasis on certain things, like you have people who might lay emphasis on Holy Ghost baptism, lay emphasis on, of course, speaking in tongues and other things. But that's where the differences are. The differences are by the doctrines that they pick, doctrines in baptism, and also the authority. For example, the Catholics place authority on the papacy. The Anglicans place the authority on the monarch. If the monarch, whether it's the queen or the king, is the head of the Anglican Church. Then the others also, now that people are moving away from under what you may call imperialistic European church and electing their own primates, then they recognize the primate as their authority, as the head of their own denomination. But basically differences are in the doctrines that they propound and also in the authorities, people that they recognize as the authority and the powers of the church.
Okay. Finally, before I round off the program, I would like you to talk to those in power. What do you have to tell them, given the views and cries of people over bad governance? That's my final question.
Well, I believe that our leaders do understand that they are under a contractual obligation between them and society and the people. The people who elected them expect them to serve them, meet their needs, whether it's in education or in health or provision of amenities. For example, people that are in a place like some of the states where you need roads, is responsibility of government, responsibility of the leaders. The leaders should look beyond themselves and look at society and identify the needs, the human needs, the societal needs of the people of the country, and service them and bring about change so that the people can, country like ours, Nigeria, that is so richly endowed and blessed with natural resources and human resources, the powers that be ought to harness those for the benefit of everybody. The poor, the rich, the middle class, and all, so that in the end there will be peace in our nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Viewers, this is where we draw the curtain. We had Bishop Ekemam talk about the career path and insisting that it was his desire to serve God, that it was his calling, which he actually brought to fruition. He let us understand that Christianity and the Igbo culture are complementary, and Christianity is not an European culture. On the final note, he advised our leaders to look beyond themselves, harness our resources, and deliver the best for the good of everybody, so that there will be peace and stability in our society. On that note, we say thank you. Please continue to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube platform. My name again is Alfam.